First item on the agenda is apologies for absence. Have we?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Apology from Councillor John Curtis.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item 2, which is disclosures of personal or prejudicial interest. Have we got any? I would like to declare first as a in receipt of a pension from the City and County of Swansea Pension Fund Committee. Sorry.
Phil Downing online.
Phil Downing?
Yeah, that's normal, Chair. My brother's a member of the pension fund.
Phil?
Good morning, all. Yeah, I have to declare I'm a member of the fund, and so is my wife as well. Thank you.
Will?
Yeah, member of the fund, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Yeah, and myself, Chair. I'm a member of the pension fund.
Thank you, Jeremy.
And I'm a member of the pension fund as well.
Right.
Sorry, Chairman.
Sorry.
Two more declarations of your mic.
And I'm a member of the fund. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Oh, yeah. Two more online. Ian Gay.
Member of the pension fund, Chair.
Thank you, Patience. Ian?
I'm also a member of the fund.
Full house this morning, isn't it? Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Moving on then to the minutes of the last meeting, which was on Wednesday, 15th of November. It seems a long time ago, but could go through them with me. Page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, and can I ask if that's a true record of the minutes from the last meeting?
Happy to propose that, Chair.
Thank you very much. Seconder?
Yeah, second, Chair.
Thank you very much. That's very kind. Right. We now move on to reports of the Section 151 officer. And the first report is internal audit reports, pension fund investments and pension fund administration. And I believe you're going to take this, Jeff.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
What we've got before you, committee members, are findings of 2 routine internal audit reports. The committee are used to receiving, the annual external audit report from our appointed external auditors, Audit Wales. These are the routine internal control audit reports that our own internal audit section conduct on a regular basis, testing and making inquiries around 2 areas of the business, pension fund investments at Appendix 1 and pension fund administration at Appendix 2. Cut to the chase, I think I'll share with you that the findings of both reports indicate a high audit assurance rating. So that gives you, the most comfort that our internal auditors can provide in that respect. However, obviously that's limited by the type of testing that they do. So that gives committee the assurance that the internal controls of both sides of the business are working well. And due to that high rating and due to the historic continued high rating, the regularity of those audits has been reduced to a 2-yearly cycle. So instead of being annually tested, they're tested on a every 2-year cycle. I always get mixed up. I don't know whether it's biannual or is it, I don't know. Anyway, it's tested every 2 years because of those high ratings that they've received historically. In respect of the pension fund investments report, you can see there on page 9 the work that's undertaken and their findings. And as you can see, there is no appendix with any audit recommendations. And as I say on page 11 at 3.3, an assurance level of high has been given. As I say, there are only 4 categories of audit assurance they give: high, substantial, moderate, and limited. And pension funds investment internal audit report has been given an assurance level of high. Predominantly, they undertake testing of the business around the investment side. And that's managed by Karen to my right here. So I'd like to commend Karen and her team for achieving the outcome of that internal audit report. And then moving on to page 13, we move on to the pension and admin section. And again, the sheer volume and complexity of the work of the pensions admin team in dealing with individuals individual records, data, etc. This potentially is more prone for error because there's a lot more human intervention, manual processing required. But again, I'm pleased to let you know that the audit assurance given is high. And again, on page 14 to 15, you can see the areas of the business that they undertook testing on. You know, high risk areas whereby it involves contributions in, contributions out, pensions payable, recording the data of new pensioners and leavers, etc. Again, pleased to say that it's got a high rating, and then there are a number of, well, when I say a number, there are two audit recommendations which are low risk audit recommendations on page 20. You can see there which pensions admin manager Claire has accepted in full and has already implemented in respect to those two audit recommendations. These are important reports and important bits of work because external audit, who undertake the annual statutory audit in respect to the financial statements and other controls surrounding the pension fund, rely on the work that internal audit do to inform the scope of the work that they undertake and the audit testing that they undertake. So they take comfort from these reports as well and rely on some of the work that internal audit do. And the fact that they've been given high ratings. So glad you can make it, Jan. The fact that they've received a high rating feeds in to the work that external audits undertake and help them reach their conclusions at their annual audit during the year. Chair, the report just recommends that the committee notes the findings of those reports, and I'm happy to take any questions surrounding both those appendices.
Thank you, Jeff. Have we got any questions for Jeff? Online? No. Can I just say that's an excellent report, and I'd like to pay tribute to all your officers for all the hard work they've gone to produce this report. It gives me great pleasure in looking at the highlighted high assurance level, and it shows that the pension fund is being looked after in a very, very good way. So with that, I assume we've all read the report, and you can see that they've the recommendations on this item. So I pass you over to Democratic Services Officer to take the vote.
Okay, the recommendations is to note the findings of the internal audit reports in relation to pension fund investments at Appendix 1 and pension fund administration Appendix 2. Can I have all those in favour, please? Okay, online. There we are. That's any against? And any abstentions? Okay, that's carried. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeremy. Moving on to item 5 on the agenda, which is the Wales Pension Partnership Business Plan 2024 to 2027. Again, I'll pass you over to Jeff because he's going to report on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. What you've got before you now, committee, is the business plan of the Wales Pension Partnership 2024 to 27. It's part of the governance arrangements of the WPP. Each constituent authority is required to approve each year's business plan. at the beginning of the municipal year. And that's what you've got before you. The chairman had the pleasure of attending Joint Governance Committee of the Wales Pension Partnership last week up in Llandrindod, Wales, where this business plan was formally approved and adopted by the Joint Governance Committee, and now it's brought before each committee and before you today as Swansea's committee to formally approve and adopt as well. Not planning to go through it in detail because you'd have seen it last year and the year before. So largely, it's a dynamic document and builds on the work and the identified program of the previous year. Just going to highlight some pertinent and live issues in respect of the work plan on page 32 and page 33. As you can see, the bottom of page 10, a live tender at the moment is the real estate investment program that is going through the ITT process as we speak. Officers are due to meet later this week to shortlist with a view to interviewing the managers later on in the spring. The top of page 33, complete operator contract procurement process and implement new operator contract. Later on in this agenda, in the closed part of the agenda, in the exempt items, will be a report with formal recommendations surrounding that. So again, that is very live and pertinent and in operation there. And then at the bottom of page 33, we've got the formulation of the annual WPP budget. And as you can see on page 35, that outlines the actual budget and the working budget of the Wales Pension Partnership. Obviously, all those costs there that you can see are recharged on an equal basis between the 8 constituent authorities. On page 34, outlines the training plan. I know some of you were able to commit some time to the quite dry training on the regulatory framework that WPP put on a couple of weeks ago, and it's appreciated the time commitment that committee members make to attend and support that training. It's always good to be able to say to regulators and auditors that you have a well-trained and well-informed committee. So your attendance and support of those sessions is appreciated. And the rest of the update report just outlines the investment arrangements and performance of the relevant funds. Happy to take questions, Chair.
Any questions on the report? Will?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Just curious on the operating costs of the WPP. How they share those out, really? Is it done on, the size of the your fund, or is it the amount of money you have invested within it, or how's that calculated, or is it just the same for everyone? Thanks.
In terms of the host authority costs and the external advisor costs, you see they're just divided 8 ways. There's 8 constituent authorities, and they're divided equally between, regardless of size. The level of support and advice and information, that's not determined by the size of assets under management or assets within the fund. However, the direct management costs associated with the funds, which are recharged, again, are commensurate with the size of capital committed to each individual fund. So those direct management costs are directly linked to the size of the commitment and money invested within WPP. However, those central host authority costs and external advisor costs that you can see on that page are just divided equally between the 8 constituent authorities.
Any more questions? No. Okay, then we move on to the recommendation, and it is recommended that the WPP business plan 24-27 be approved. So can I pass you over again to Jeremy to register the?
Okay, can everybody in favour please show? Thank you. That's unanimous, so that's carried. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Jeremy. Moving on to item 6, which is the breaches report. Jeff, will you take this one?
Thank you, Chairman. Committee are used to seeing this report on a quarterly basis now. We're required to report any operational breaches to committee, so you can consider them and make any recommendations about remedial action if you see fit. The latest breaches, if I take you to page 57 of your packs, you can see them outlined there. The ones that committee members normally like to ask questions about are the ones in relation to late contributions. I know the chairman did tackle me before the meeting started about those late contributions. So if the chairman doesn't mind, I'll relay our conversation that we had before committee started to explain that one, because as you can see in the table below there on page 57, one of the late contributors was a college, and the amounts are quite substantial, over £250,000 in terms of pension fund contributions. But if you look to the left, the due date for contributions on it is the 19th of each month. Regulations say they have to be paid by that date, and any deviation from that means it's a late payment. As you can see, they were paid a day late. So we have to report them for our breaches purposes. However, on a risk basis, they're only a day late. And there is a reasonable explanation for this. As far as the college is concerned, staff member responsible for that piece of work is on long-term sick, and the person covering for them missed the date. And obviously, when they identified the correct date, they did remit the payment. So in terms of concern, it's of low concern. The college recognise it, and the contributions have been received subsequently. The other ones identified on the page are the usual smaller employers with a lot less resource, manual processing, and again, we deem them as low risk in terms of any additional remedial action required, rather than reminding them of their duties as employers within the scheme. Happy to take any further questions, Chairman.
Are we any other questions online or in person? No, that being the case, then that report was for information only. So if we can move on to item 7 now, which is the City and County of Swansea Pension Fund Business Plan 24-25. So Jeff, could you?
Thanks, Chairman. This is we've received WPP, Wales Pension Partnership Business Plan. This is the City and County of Swansea Pension Funds Business Plan. And again, committee members are used to receiving this and an updated version of this on an annual basis. A lot of it will be very familiar, very similar to last year's document, however, with updates for this year and next year and the work programme going forward. Not planning to go through it in detail. However, was going to point out a couple of items there and communicate update to the committee. In terms of the business plan for the forthcoming year, you can see there still is the outstanding issue of reviewing the investment advisor contract, investment consultant contract. Again, that was scheduled to be completed during the current financial year. However, due to other additional work pressures on officers responsible for this area of work, it has slipped. Hopefully, we will launch that procurement process within the next month or so. With the following wind, other pressures have eased. Now there's a window in the work programme to be able to launch that. To be clear, what that's about, and in apologies to my colleagues to my right, is in respect of the investment consultant contract. Obviously, our colleagues Philip and Mike are aware of that, and are aware that we're required under procurement rules to retest the market. It's not a reflection of how satisfied we are with the current service provision. It's purely a function of a procurement requirement. Again, a new item you can see there on the bottom of page 70. Again, it's very pertinent. You know, you'd have read about cyber attacks on the British Library, for example. They experienced a huge cyber attack recently, and there was a case study about their experiences reported online. So you can see on item 20 on page 70 is undertake cybersecurity wargame testing. We're working with our actuaries to develop a cybersecurity policy and action plan, and we're due to implement. They call it a war game. It'll be a you know, a planned, programmed attack on our systems to see if the controls and protections that we have in place are working and are satisfactory, and if everyone knows what they're doing. Cybersecurity is very much on the radar of the regulators. TPR very much focus on it in their new revised code, and it's definitely something that we need to do. We're working very closely with the Admin Authority's ICT department. They've been very very cooperative and proactive in this piece of work. So hopefully, you know, this war game and this testing will be undertaken within the next 6 months or so. Item 18 on that page, I know we did a bit of work with Hymans a while ago to assess the knowledge of committee and the board, to identify weaknesses in training, etc., and where we need to do more. Again, I suppose, you know, we can never do enough training, I suppose, and I know my colleagues on my right probably want to be able to feed in and provide more training, but we're very conscious of the demands on your time as committee members and board members. There's only so much time that you can commit to this work, but hopefully the training that you do receive is adequate. I mean, in terms of you know, hands-on real world experience, for example, you know, we went on our site visit last week to see a real live asset down in Margam, to see how you know, the pension fund's capital is deployed. You know, you asked direct questions of the asset operator, the asset manager, and you know, nothing can beat that you know, real live world training, and hopefully we can do more things like that. Hopefully, as the real assets program develops and the local impact program develops, you know, we'll have the opportunity to visit more local assets that we're invested in. No comment, Councillor Thomas, no comment. And then on page 70 is pension risk register. I mean, you know, on the investment side of the business, it's all about risk management. It's embedded in everything that we do. As far as the pension fund investments are concerned, we have fund managers, advisors, whose very raison d'etre is to manage the risks in relation to those investments. This is the risk register about you know, the other workings of the pension fund, you know, the admin side, data security, etc. So this is the identified risk register, and this is monitored on an operational basis internally to highlight mitigating actions, etc., in respect of the highlighted risks. And then we have on page 75, you're probably thinking why that document looks quite empty there, in that this is subject to review pending the adoption of the investment strategy and the implementation plan later on in the agenda pack, when that can be put before you and revised. So hopefully what you've got before you then is the indicative target allocation identified by by that strategy, but then the benchmarks and the performance parameters then can be reviewed accordingly. And then on page 76, we've got the pension fund budget. Again, you're used to seeing this. The top of the page there, you can see the outline operational budget, largely without our control, dictated by statute in terms of the employer contributions that we collect, and then the payments that we make in respect of pensions payable and lump sums. The bottom is where we do have some control. Is the expenses of the fund, and you can see there the whole detailed list of expenses attributable to managing the fund. And the big chunky numbers there, you've got the investment management expenses. These are the ones alluded to by Councillor Thomas earlier on that are paid largely via WPP, because predominantly most of our assets are managed via WPP now, and they're identified there below. Happy to take questions, Sharon.
Thank you very much. I have a question. On the well-trained staff, have we got a full complement of well-trained staff at the moment? How are our numbers looking across the pension fund staff?
Thanks, Sharon. Pension Fund Committee approved a pension fund investment officer to work alongside our pension fund investment and accounting manager last year. That post is yet to be filled. We are scheduled to fill that post in due course, and I don't think I'm disclosing anything I shouldn't at the moment. I think Karen has formally given us notice that she would like to retire within the next 18 months or so. So a piece of work needs to be undertaken to plan her succession and find a replacement if we can. Obviously, Karen's irreplaceable, but yes, that piece of work will need to be undertaken in the next 6 months or so. In terms of the admin team, you're quite right, Chairman. The resourcing of that admin team prior COVID was largely dictated by the office space that we had to accommodate them, and post-COVID now, with the adoption of working from home, remote working, hybrid working that the team are now adopted, those limitations are largely gone. There have been some pressures on the resourcing, and as you're aware, committee approved some temporary additional resourcing to help with the GMP reconciliation piece of work and the McLeod remedy, and then committee very helpfully approved those temporary staff be made permanent. But as you're aware, the scheme is ever evolving, ever changing. It's not one scheme; it's ostensibly about 4 different schemes now. We're still waiting for the McLeod remedy, what that would look like, and how that's going to be implemented. Hopefully, it's a technological solution, but no doubt that there will be required to be some manual intervention because it involves members' records, members' personal circumstances, and no personal circumstance is the same. So you're right, Chairman, to ask if the resourcing is adequate. We're going to appraise that. Have to temper. If you ask Claire Elliott, our pensions fund admin manager, she would quite gladly say she needs 10 extra staff, at the drop of a hat. But we have to manage that against appropriateness, against benchmarking against other funds, what they're doing, and value for money for all our employers. So it's under review, Chairman, across both sides of the business, and if any additional resource is required, a report be brought to committee asking for approval to sign that off.
Thank you, Jeff. Will?
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, just on the administrative expenses, just a couple of questions. Support services, I'm guessing that's staffing. Is it all staffing?
Yes. Support services is everything in relation to the admin of the pension fund. So it's largely Claire Elliott, who's our pension admin manager, and all her staff, and ICT and legal support service and democratic support services. So it's the recharge from the pension fund to the admin authority, which is Swansea Council, for all services in relation to delivering the pension fund.
Cool. And other is also, there's quite a big number for other. I'm just wondering if that could be broken down a bit and why it's.
Could I ask Karen to answer this question?
Yes, certainly. It's things like medical fees. We've got mortality screening, Western Union check-in where we pay foreign payments, conference fees, travel expenses, mail services. It's everything that's not elsewhere. Yeah.
Those initial ones that Karen mentioned are important ones. The mortality screening, for example, it's a service that we undertake to, because obviously pensioners, you know, we keep on paying them month in month out until we're told that they passed away. So sometimes we do carry on paying pensioner payments when a member is deceased. So we have this check in place to check databases across this mortality screening service. And also some lucky pensioners do actually move abroad and live abroad, and they take payment of their pension abroad. And from time to time we're required Phil's laughing. From time to time we require those members who live abroad to present themselves to a Western Union office to prove they're still alive, who they are, so that we can carry on paying those pensions abroad. There are a surprising number of Swansea pensioners who do live abroad and take payment of their pension abroad. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions? Well, the recommendation again is that the Pension Fund Committee approve and note this report. So can I pass over to Jeremy again? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chair. All those in favour? Okay, and online, that's unanimous. That's carried. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Jeremy. We now move on to exclusion of the public. I have to bring the legal officer in here. No, okay. So could you stop recording?